The word hustle is a word a lot of men, generally people, but men in particular, are very familiar with. It's an adage or a word used to define the struggle, the push, the drive towards the next level. It doesn't necessarily have a textbook definition or a corporate entity attached to it. It's anything you need to do to get paid. On Blue Room Banters, we're going to try to dissect and find out the drive to hustle and make money. What is going on there? What are the challenges most men are facing? And I have a great crop of guys here who understand and probably have redefined the word hustle. It is Blue Room Banters, certified cool by Premier Cool Soap. I'm Oscar Onyuson. Stick around after the break. Great to have you back on Blue Room Banters, certified cool by Premier Cool Soap. Now, the men you're about to meet are certified hustlers on another level. I've had the privilege of watching their careers grow, and I think they're going to bring some spice to this today. Broadcaster, voiceover artist, I'm tempted to say veteran.
Well, go ahead.
And when it comes to Hausa in particular, he's a genius. Ladani, great to have you. Nagode. We have a serial entrepreneur, an actor, a TikTok sensation, and an ex-Big Brother Nigeria housemate. Ni, how
That's
we
good.
do?
I'm okay, man. Shine your eye.
We had to. He's really shining his eye. That's another way of defining hustle, actually. We had to reduce his chair. Brother is what, 6'6"?
6.6.
6 point. Damn. Like if you could make money from just how tall you are, we'll talk about that.
A lot.
We'll talk about that very soon. And of course, last but not the least, is a film consultant and of course another media man himself, Shola Thompson. Great to have you.
Pleasure, man.
Gentlemen, great to have you all here. We're talking about the drive to hustle and make more money. And as men, there is this unwritten contract that it is our sole responsibility to hustle. But let me start with a very obvious question. What is hustle to you? Ni?
Hustle to me is the ability for you to identify an opportunity and seize the opportunity and make the best of it.
Okay.
But in a good way.
Man, don't you guys feel like voting for him? Like, it's like for president, like, you know.
Yeah.
What about you, Ladani?
Well, it's the capacity to naturally identify your gifts, your talents, your ability. Even one of the good books says your talent shall make a way for you, but you have to be able to identify it and of course to keep it legit so that you don't have the law behind you steady, because a lot of people mistake it going to do some shiesty stuff and they say, I'm hustling. Meanwhile, you're cutting off someone's means of livelihood. So that's my definition of hustle right there.
Shola?
Yeah, hey man, it's trying to get that money in very unfortunate circumstances. I feel like you're not hustling if you're not going against the wind, or if it's not an uphill situation. You're trying to, it becomes hustling when, you know, it seems like it's a more strenuous situation. So yeah, that's how I see hustle.
Do you think there's a negative stigma given to the word hustle?
Yes.
If you want to delve a bit more into the history of the word hustle, it's the hip hop genre, you know, New York, Brooklyn, back in the days. I mean, we can Google the stuff up, but I think, you know, I'm a hustler. That's I think where it all originated from, which is to get that money at all costs. But what has been the defining point for you? So like Ladani's media, movie, yours as well, and then we have, like, how do you define yours? Because I know you're also a sports enthusiast as well.
Well, it's not just only sports enthusiasts. I started hustling in college.
Okay.
So, you know, I was that guy who had his Mishai stand, and I also had my payphone booth.
In Nigeria, right?
Yeah, in Uniben.
Uniben, okay.
So, yeah, it all started way back in school. I just liked the drive that I could make some little money and put it back in and try to, you know, grow it. And ever since then, I've been able to elevate my hustle. I have ventured into different things, and now, you know, I was in Big Brother trying to make that bag and stuff. So, it's a journey. Hustle is a journey for me. It never stops. There's no, okay, I'm done hustling for me, and I just keep going.
What about you, Shola? When was that hustling switched on?
The hustling switch. So I would say maybe I didn't start off hustling, of course. And honestly, I don't even think of myself as a hustler. But
Really?
I understand it because, you know, we know that in our climate, Nigeria, you obviously have to have that mindset, or else you just find yourself broke, dirt poor. So basically, even if you're, you know, whoever you are, you're hustling somehow. You know, so I started working at 19. You know, so that's when I started radio, and I guess in some way it spoiled me because
There was structure.
I didn't have to hustle. There was structure. But you know, I guess you would say it kicked in after you just realize that, you know, the money, it seems like it's just never enough. You know, and maybe even if it's not that it's not never enough, the way the game is played in Nigeria when it comes to trying to make that money, as you said, you know, apart from the fact that there's no structure, you cannot just be straight laced. I'm not saying you're supposed to do like anything
You
that's
should
wrong.
diversify.
You have to diversify. You have to basically just go above and beyond. If you just say, oh, I'm just going to sit back, I'm good at what I do, and just sit back and just cross my arms and wait for good things to happen to me, you will be broke, man. So obviously, you find out at a point in your life where you're like, you know what, I have to have that hustle spirit and I have to activate that, or else I will be found lacking.
What about you, Ladani? When was that switch for you?
First of all, thanks for that question. Because it's a very, very important. I have found myself behind bars before at the age of 16. And truly, if I had committed the crime, I would be cool to say, yes, I did the time after committing the crime, but I didn't. It was a clipper, and I was a barber. That was to say, it even started, I started hustling before I even knew that I was a hustler, because I'd done the houseboy thing, you know, the barman, restaurant clerk, and then at this very point I was a barber, and somebody stole the clipper. Apparently the junior brother to the owner of the shop stole the clipper. But that's what saved the case, because afterwards the person that bought it back and said it wasn't working because it was looking brand new. I was using the other one that was looking dirty, and he didn't take that one. He picked the brand new looking one and sold it. But that actually saved the case afterwards, because the guy brought it back. So, well, I found myself behind bars, and you know, you come across all sorts over there. Man, it's somebody who has killed someone before, it's someone who has robbed someone, it's someone who fought, who slept with someone's wife. People, just a crop of every shade of crime in there, criminals, whatever. And so I told myself, look, man, you don't belong here, Duke, you don't belong here. You need to do something. But I'm like, okay, so what do I do in order to make sure I don't find myself back in here again? I said, like, these four walls are the only limitation for me to make it in life. And so I told myself, when you leave here, you are, in definition, an entrepreneur, a hustler, and every other word that has to do with you doing legit stuff to make your money, to be independent. As an orphan, we all know orphans don't have it easy. Nobody's there for you. You have to step up for yourself. So that's when it kicked in for me.
If I was going to ask you guys in one word, what is your motivation for your hustle need?
It doesn't necessarily need to be something driving you like poverty. You know, it could be that you are inspired by somebody, or it could be the environment. You know, it could be your dreams. So you can surely pick your hustle spirit from anything around you, you know, and motivate yourself. For me, the drive I'm having right now, it always changes, I tell you. Right now, I'm a family man, and
Nice.
I have big dreams for my family, so I always put something up front to motivate my hustle. And that's what I'm doing right now, so family.
Family, and your situation is you're married to an Israeli,
Yes.
and you have a boy.
Oh, yes.
Does that change the dynamics of your hustle?
No,
Being a Niger boy, you know, like, I mean, does it matter who you're married to, for example?
No, it
'Cause-
doesn't matter who I am married to. As a matter of fact, you know, my hustle is now interesting because my wife is also a hustler. So we double hustle, you know.
I'm seeing you guys on TikTok as well.
Oh yeah, so TikTok was a thing that we during the lockdown, and we were bored because we were literally doing nothing.
Yeah,
And yeah, we found the app. Someone challenged us on the Don't Rush Challenge.
yeah.
We got into it, and it was something we both enjoyed. So we started it, and that's how that started.
Shala,
Hustle game strong, man.
any TikTok for you?
You know, for me, I would say my motivation has to be just Just to understand, or the need to just be the better, or should I say the best version of myself, one. Also, to make sure that, when you're old and gray on your deathbed, you don't feel like, oh man, I could have done this, or I could have done that.
Better,
And then you go all the way, or you take it up a notch. I doubt there's anybody who's on their dying bed thinking, oh, I should have lived life a lot more quiet. I did too much. There are not many people that say
I should
that.
have cracked it down a bit.
Nobody says that. Most people would say, I wish I had done, I wish I had done. So that's the angle I come from when I try to do things. So I find myself, because I think I'm creative. So with all the ideas, I just try to do different things. Of course, it can be very frustrating sometimes, especially when it seems like it's not really working out as you want it to. But then that drive remains, the drive to just ensure that, as I said before, you're just the best version of whoever it is that you are. So, and I think your hustle mentality changes over the years, right? And then eventually you also have to adjust. For example, I'll give you let's say your 50 Cent. 50 Cent started hustling, but then eventually he couldn't relate to the poverty. And eventually he knew he had to stop rapping as much because he can't relate anymore. And eventually, he hustled, his hustle changed to something else. Same thing with your Kevin Hart. Your Kevin Hart, when he was making those jokes, he was talking about broke days, how, people wanted to fight, he wanted to be in fights in public. He became richer, obviously he couldn't relate, so his hustle had to change. So yeah, people's hustles, your hustle always evolves and it changes. And for people that don't actually find themselves successful, I guess for those guys who can't accept that. Yeah, at this point in my life, my hustle should have evolved. So either your motivation changes or,
Ladani?
Well, basically not to see my kids go through half of the stuff I went through, because it breaks a lot of people. Some people never come out of that shell. When they're pushed down, they're oppressed. So a lot of people don't, they call it correctional facility, but actually it's, I'm not trying to even go deep into that aspect. Let's not delve. But the fact is, a lot of people go there and they come out worse than they were when they went there. And I never want to see my kids. Also, to prove to myself that I really am gifted and talented, and that I can make it without the help of any big uncle, on the side to sponsor me and to push me forward. Yeah, that is the motivation for me.
I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I think the hustle, there's a talent. There's something you must offer to people that brings in the money, that makes you relevant. So we'll talk more about that after the break on Blue Room Banters. Certified Cool by Premier Cool Soap. Stick around. Welcome back to Blue Room Banters. The hustle is on, and of course, the drive to hustle and make more money is what we're talking about. And I have Ladanis, Shola, and Ni in the house. We're trying to get to the origins of the hustle spirit, and one of the fundamental things is there must be something to offer. The talent that you have. I mean, is the talent really that important? Can you get into stuff that you're not talented to get the hustle on?
Yes, of course. The talent is like a head start for some people. I know a lot of sports guys who were not good when they started, but now they're top notch. So for me, it's really about the determination in a person. But if you can put it in the corporate world, you have the 9-to-5 who is still hustling and can still try and do something on the side. So that is still like hustle. That is the drive. So talent is okay, but that's a head start for me.
But it's not the criteria. But how important is talent?
The thing is, I mean, I like to use references. If you let's look at rap, for example.
Yeah.
Look at the best rappers. You hear things like this guy Andre 3000, or even hear Lupe Fiasco. But think about the richest guys. Also think about the people that are mentioned when it comes to top 10 rappers. You'd find out that they are not anywhere close. Why? Not because they can't rap as good. It's because if you don't have the drive, or if you don't have determination, if you just don't have that force behind you to just say, look, I want to be good, your talent can't do you nothing. In fact, sometimes talent can be a disadvantage because you know you're talented. So you feel like, okay, things should come to me naturally. So you might not push yourself as much. But then if you realize you're half as talented, but man, if I don't push, I won't make this money. You will push yourself a lot more.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the traditionals, the 9-to-5s. What would you tell them in terms of the hustle spirit? How would you, advise a friend of yours who has a 9 to 5, getting some nice paycheck every month?
Um,
Can you convince them to like, you know what, this is good, but you need to step it up a bit?
You know what? It comes from a place of not everybody could be a 9 to 5, or not everybody could manage that. And the same way, not everybody could be an entrepreneur. So that's a different way to balance the hustle. You know, you get a guy who's hustling his way, a serial entrepreneur, and trying to, you know, find something work. And he's trying to pay a 9 to 5 person his paycheck. You see, it's on a different level.
Yeah.
And that's only because the 9 to 5, they might be very, very comfortable in that. Now, the drive in the 9 to 5, it's totally different because he needs to hustle to the very top. You know, from paychecks to more positions and
Yeah.
stuff. There's nothing much you can say. It's just a
Different
different
path.
a different part, a different hustle spirit.
Hey, let me drop this story, guys. I'll need your take on this. So this is the scenario. You have a guy with a grad, let's just say they've been going on for about 3 years. The lady has a 9 to 5, steady job, salary comes in. He's on the grind. He's into various types of businesses. COVID hits, right? And there's this, his business literally grinds to a halt. And she's like, dude, go get a 9 to 5, get a job, no matter how little, just do something to bring some money to the table. And he's like, it's not me. And I'm sure we know a lot of people like that. I can't do 9 to 5. I would rather just quote unquote starve and die. Like, what would you tell that guy to do? Should he pick up that job or should he continue the hustle?
Now, I can understand the pressure.
Yeah.
And when it's from a lady saying, look, we need this money, you need to get this money. But then, even after taking that type of job, he has to have it at the back of his head that this is a temporary situation. I need to ensure that every single day I'm still pursuing my plans to do this and do that.
Ladani?
Yeah, naturally, it's
What
everybody.
would you advise the guy?
Well, everybody needs a lifeline, and at about that point in time during the lockdown, you know, with nothing really happening on his side, he has no choice but to take that. It's a no-no. He has no choice but to take the 9 to 5 for the moment until, you know.
But so
everything
let
else.
me speak to the hustle in you guys. Would you guys take 9 to 5?
Okay, that's a good one. I'll tell you, you know, my situation and my wife's situation during the lockdown.
Yeah.
So the balloon business, the events business started during the lockdown. And that was because we literally could not do anything. We had to figure out, okay, since the internet is popping and some startup business is starting, why not? So in as much as I'm going to advise the guy to take the job for security,
Yeah.
I still don't want something to dine in because it switches real quick. Before you know, you get lost and you might not even find your balance anymore.
During the COVID, our profession, I mean, I'm an MC, so it got hit, there were no events.
Yeah.
And there's a certain level of living that, you know, your wife expects from you, your children expect from you. But deep down, in as much as I know or I knew then I needed a lifeline, I couldn't see myself taking maybe a 9 to 5. And there are a lot of guys out there who are in that same boat. Would you say that's a selfish thing? Would you say they need to bend backwards so that, you know, everyone can be okay?
I think that there's a time in the season for everything. The fact that it was a lockdown and things weren't happening for you at about that point in time, of course you make do with what's available.
Yeah.
They say when the desirable is not available, the available becomes the desirable. It's all about putting food on the table at about that point in time and really, really, you know, making ends meet until, you know, things go back to the way they were.
In the spirit of the hustle, when is it a good time for someone to make that switch? I have friends who are in Canada who studied a certain career, but because technology is evolving, a lot of tech-related jobs are coming out, online jobs. Some people are making a killing from TikTok, for example, in terms of adverts and stuff like that. When is the time to make make that switch?
When you find out that, wait, I'm going to work on Monday, and you know how people are like, oh, Monday blues, but this one you feel really, really depressed, it is time for you to start making serious plans to get the hell out of there.
What about you, Ladani?
That time to make that switch is when you can't take no BS from your boss anymore. I'm sorry for the vulgar language, but
Which is
man,
every
that's the
day.
truth, you know, and you say, and you get it, man. You collect it on a daily basis. You're driving to work every day and you're cussing at yourself. God damn it, I'm going back to that work again, that office again. When you can't sleep at night, knowing that you're telling yourself, you're speaking to yourself, you can't even get up from bed and go to ease yourself because you know that when you come back, you can't sleep again. The switch just comes on and you start thinking, but if you do this, you know that it is this and your instincts, man. It's a crazy thing.
We're men, so let me put this on the table. What role do women have in pushing your hustle?
A lot.
Yeah, straight up.
As a matter of fact, I would say, if not all, you know, as a hustler, you wake up in the morning, 5 a.m., 4 a.m., and you're waking up to a happy home. You're waking up to a happy wife. It means that you're leaving your house happy. You're going to work. You're meeting your workers. And whatever you're passing that day is all positives. Now, if you wake up in a sad home, a wife who's going to give you troubles in the morning, you are going to tell your workers shit. And your business is not going to flourish, trust me. And that same thing would make you go home late at night. You would have to first stop at a bar, drink a couple of beers, and you find yourself, you just don't want to be at home because you won't have to sleep first. Now, that's not healthy for business. That's not healthy for...
If you're with a good woman, as far as the role a woman plays with your hustle, she would actually get you to kickstart your hustle. Like if you find yourself in that rut, maybe even before you find yourself really regretting or hating your job, she will be able to tell that there's something up, and at the same time, she will know, okay, you have a lot of potential. There's so much more about you. It is time for you to switch things up.
Yeah.
So you almost have to have like a good job
Yeah.
and potential. You can't just, oh, I have potential. No, you have to have both.
You said something earlier on about a good woman, that knowing, believing in your potentials, kind of like reminds me of the movie Acrimony.
Acrimony. Oh, no, don't go there.
And so you see how much she disbelieved, and actually she did believe in the guy in the beginning, but she listened to what her sisters had to tell her, which is topic for another day entirely, the way that women they relate with themselves when it comes to advice about certain things, family issues. Anyway, so I digress. The fact is, the woman is the backbone of a man. It says a man shall leave his family and cleave unto his woman, right? Without that woman, you don't have a home. You only have a house full of furniture and probably some fancy stuff in there.
And a PS5.
I can understand that. So, but really, if you have a woman who supports you, then you're halfway through your journey, because every day when you wake up, like you said, when she's smiling, even that joy, you wake up like, oh my God, this woman is happy, and that is wonderful because it pushes you forward. You want to see her, you want her to call you pet names, oh baby, but when there are issues, Baba Mustafa, you're not taking care of this issue, there's a problem over there. So yes, the woman is the backbone.
So let me be the devil's advocate here. There are a lot of women who first year, second year, third year, they're buying into the vision of the hustle or whatever it is that as a man you're into. And then they get to a point and they snap and they're like, you know what? It's been nice, but I need to take care of myself. What do you say to women who want to truncate supporting their men in their hustle at this point when they've had enough?
As I said before, I'd add the prefix first. For the first one, I said good woman. This one, I have to say also a motivated woman. Yeah. She cannot be pissed off and say, oh, where are you going with your life? If she's at home watching Z-World or, just chilling and not doing much. And then she's like, you're not doing so, but you're not doing
the house.
Yeah, exactly. But what are you doing too? You don't look motivated. At least maybe go to the gym or look fit or try to, if you're going to be that way. So that is important. So it's right. It's okay for her to be like, time for me to exit stage left. This is not working out. You're not pushing yourself. But she herself also has to be motivated.
What about Neil? What advice would you give to a woman like that?
I'll just follow with what he said. It has to be a woman who has done enough to actually take some certain decisions. Because if you're supporting a man, it's something that you have to see all through and through. Then if the man is slacking and you are there supporting, not just by words and stuff, but you're still bringing a lot to the table, then when it's time, I mean, hustle has a time limit because
I like
you
that.
got
Also
to
has
make
a
it
time
happen.
limit, expiry date.
You got to make it happen. So then you leave. There's another hustler, you know, across the block.
I think this is even another topic, but when the woman's hustle is more than the guy, you know, that's a whole new dimension, and that's happening a lot nowadays. But when it comes to making money, when it comes to the drive, when it comes to the hustle, I think whatever it is that motivates you is very important. For some, it's the women. For some, it's their kids. For some, it's just getting out of whatever situation they're in. Whatever it is, it's the right approach. But everything is in moderation. Like Nee rightly said, there is an expiry date on some of the hustles, and you need to find the right time to switch up. But thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the time. God bless your hustle. That's one of my favorite sayings. I'm Oscar Onyuso. Thank you for joining us on Blue Room Banter's Certified Cool by Premier Cool. So catch me on the next edition. Bye for now.